Greetings, everybody, and welcome to my YouTube channel, All That Is. We are live once again here on Thursday evening at 5:55 p.m. PST with Melissa Brace, who is coming to us live from Sedona, while I'm still in Adelaide, coming to you live from Australia. And so this is our weekly show where we engage the audience in a live chat, so Melissa can provide you with a mini psychic medium reading. But we will also delve into an exciting topic for the week. And this week we are talking about exiting the matrix. How exciting. So that'll surely be a lively discussion as we move forward here with this live conversation. But before we do, let's give Melissa Brace a warm welcome back here to the show.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Raquel. Thank you so much. I am really excited today about our topic of exiting the matrix, and really excited to say hello to everybody. Thank you all so much.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Yes, we will probably see people trickling in as we move forward here. So yeah, as I said, today's show is about exiting the matrix. And what does that really mean? You know, we've seen the movie The Matrix. And so is that fact? Is that fiction? You know, have they really been, you know, telling us the truth all along about this world that we live in, you know? And, you know, as I titled the show and I asked that question, you know, what if everything that we have been taught has been a deception, a lie, you know, created, curated, if you will, you know, by reality that is not really ours? So let's ask those questions and delve deeper into this subject. Was there anything you want to get this show kicked off with, Melissa, that's close to your heart about this subject?
Well, now that you mention it, I love the movie The Matrix and have been learning ever since I saw it. And I don't even know when it came out, but like 1995 or something, 93. Yeah, well said. Because I think about the end of the movie and I'm like, what took him, the journey it took for him to realize that he was the one, and that we are the one, each one of us. And he could go, wait a minute, because a minute ago he wasn't going to make it. And now he defeated the whole beast system. And he said, I came here to help and kind of be resurrected in my truth and my divinity. And he was. So I kind of am seeing that around a little bit in different people. And if if it's feeling really yucky, like I know it has been a little bit off and on at my house when I'm working on myself and my next part of my awakening and all that kind of stuff. It just feels like it's those last pieces where he's dodging the bullets. Like,
yeah, we're like in slow motion, right? Yeah.
he's like, never mind. I'm not scared anymore. I'm just not going to mess with you. And
Yeah.
he, does backflips and, flies through the air and thousands of bullets fall on the ground. And he says, see, this is my reality. And he did not say these exact words, but
yeah.
I heard it in my heart where he was saying, yeah, this is new earth. I want love and unity and harmony and richness and happiness for all. And there's plenty for everyone. And so let's do this.
Isn't her name Unity in the movie?
Trinity.
Oh, Trinity. That's right. Correct. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, we have to be discerning. We have to be in that frame of mind to see this world for what it is, right? To see the deception. And sometimes that's really the hardest step for us to take. I know it was for me. And I think we talked about this previously today, you know, previously in our show. If you had asked me about Star Wars a few years ago, I would have laughed and said, yeah, whatever, you know, but that in itself is also like, you know, giving us a glimpse of what that interdimensional reality is all about, you know, where we can step into this world of interacting with those other star nations and, you know, be seeing other beings for what they truly are, and not for the strangeness of their appearance, but, you know, what they carry in their heart, you know. And so this world that has been created for us is something like that. You know, there were beings that came in and thought that we should live a certain way. And we have become so entrenched in that belief system that we don't really know our true original blueprint anymore. You know, we've been severed from that connection with the creator, with our higher self, which is our true connection to ourselves and that blueprint. And so it's that time where we need to, like, like Neo, stop the bullets and say, okay, this is what our reality is all about, and we need to accept that for what it is, however difficult that truth is for us on an individual level. And so we are seeing that crumbling within our society on so many levels now. And if you look deeper, you'll see it. You'll see it happening, whether it's the politicians, whether it's Hollywood, whether it's, within your own life, the job that you go to, the boss that you work for, you'll see it. You'll see it if you look really deeply behind the scenes, and what's holding this structure up. So, yeah, unfortunately, I was within that world for a good chunk of my life. And so now that I look back on it, it's like, yes, I was a part of it. And so I've had to align that within my own life and within my own understanding. And so it took me a good 10 years, to completely remove myself from that system. And so it takes a bit, but I feel that we are on a fast track now. And so things are more clear, more open for us to be brave and to take those steps forward and to choose that life, if you will, or that path. So I don't know how you feel about that, but that has been my experience.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I agree with you. And I look at my own personal journey as, like about every 10 years is a cycle. And I kind of have to do it again. I have to kind of like remind myself, like, and well, the Matrix had several other not as awesome movies that explain different aspects of stuff and how he had to do it again and get himself out of the loop and get himself out of the overlay. And I know I've been working on that again, my own personal journey of recognizing what pieces I still of the belief systems and matrix craziness, like, like someone else should fix it for me and I should be quiet, or whatever it is in my personal world, and the bigger picture of this kind of chaotic earth thing we got going on right now. What part can I unplug from, and how can I participate in holding up that like creation of our unity place, our truth, and I like it that you said, like, years ago Star Wars would have, you were like, yeah, whatever, okay, that was a cool thing. And I one of my favorite things about Star Wars is I also like Star Trek the best. Spock, me and Spock, we have a thing.
Yeah.
Um, but, but Star Wars has profound messages within the movie. And I don't know why, at least I haven't ever heard anyone say this, as a person who loves Bigfoot, who's a person that has a UFO tour for many years. Like Chewbacca, like, I mean, he was walking right with them and all of that kind of stuff. And that's where we get to see those multi dimensions. Even though we can't comprehend what that means, we will step by step as the multi dimensions come together and we could even ask the Bigfoot or Chewbacca to that energy to help us understand what we previously couldn't understand, and realize that their lightness of being, that some of the beings in the higher dimensions have certainly come a little further and have a little bit of wisdom to share with us.
Yeah, I totally believe that. Yeah. And the veils are thinning, and so now we have that opportunity to engage with these other realms, whether it's the Fae or the Chewbaccas of this world, and so they're all like waiting in the sidelines to engage with us once again, because it feels like it's been forever that we have been cut off from that interdimensional aspect of ourselves. And so it's like, welcoming back long lost friends, right? And with us,
It
the
is.
earth too is going back to her path. She was in a way arrested in her development, of that higher dimensionality of her own path. So if you can imagine that on a multi-universal level, the earth is transiting on her path, and then, she gets, blocked by all of these energies and say, no, your path is going to be slowed down. And so, she too was on this how do I say this, on this very active, let's say active highway within the cosmos, where everybody used to come into, Earth was like the hub, of activity. And, she was on this cosmic highway. And now, for the last many thousands of years, that highway has become darkened and nobody visited Earth. And so now it's like the highway is opening back up again. And so, we are welcoming all these interdimensional beings once again. And Earth is like remembering, oh yeah, I used to be a place of joy and of peace and used to welcome all these people and now we're doing it once again. And so for her too, this is coming to be a remembrance of what that seventh dimensional aspect of herself used to be. And so there's so many layers to this awakening. It's truly amazing when you delve into these topics. It's very exciting, isn't it, to look at all of these potentials, not only within your heart, but when you look at it and extend it, your family, your community, your country, your city, and then it goes beyond Earth, and the galaxy, and how these things are all developing and shifting and changing. So yeah, it's very exciting to me.
Oh, that's really cool how you said that. I had never actually thought of it that way, that our divine Mother Earth, and many songs and movies and things have been written about it. And we don't quite know what it means all the time. And each one of us, I think, in totally different ways, with our own belief systems and our progress and processes and all that kind of stuff, we're kind of at some arrested development, in very squished in some ways. But I never thought of it in that way for her, for Mother Earth, for Gaia. And I always need a reminder, even though I'm out in nature more than anybody I've ever met, um, all the time. It's nice to have a reminder that she too, like she's been squished and it wasn't her choice. And as we come out of those time periods where those things that we actually didn't consent to, or we accidentally consented to, can bring us back into that wholeness. And then and a reminder that we all have the spiritual body. And so when we speak of the different dimensions, we too belong in those places and have parts of us in those places. And how I think this particular unfolding disclosure, new earth, next cycles, I think it's going to be really cool, even though there's a lot of tumultuousness going on to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I
Beautiful.
think that's important, to remember that that bridge is going to be the hardest for us to cross, because, leaving behind something that has been our way of life, really, everything that we know, we have to now say, okay, goodbye to it, and step into this unknown and believe that that foot we're stepping forward with, that something will be there to meet us, to meet that foot, to be solid ground that we can stand on. And so that's the hardest part, that leap of faith is the hardest part. And so I think you and me talking about it and helping people understand that it's okay to let go of those old paradigms, I think is very, very important, because people are not aware for the most part of what is taking place. It's easier to step back into those old patterns and say, okay, I'm comfortable here. Why should I change? I like my life the way it is. But when you think about it, it's like that paradigm is crumbling. So, whether you like it or not, it's going to crumble. So why not be prepared rather than, you know, be completely lost when it does crumble? You know what I mean? So I think we need to plan now. Now is the time when we need to plan ahead and make those changes within our life, so that it's not as tumultuous as it could be, and when I tune into Yeshua and Mary Magdalene as well, they've given me a timeline, and they said up to 2064 is when this shift is going to be the most difficult. And so, that's a good indicator for us to, you know, pull our boots up and say, okay, it's time for us to make those important decisions now, and start planning for the future, and bring forth all those creative visions that we have, and make changes towards that, And you and I have talked about that, it would be lovely for us to create a community where people can come and have like that safe haven, if you will, and so we need to plant those seeds in order for us to be able to create those communities, create those safe havens for when these things happen and when people are really struggling, where, they could say, okay, let's go to Raquel and Melissa and stay there for a month and, um, and in a way, lick our wounds and, you know, look at what's
Yeah.
coming next. So yeah, it's all very encouraging, but at the same time, it's also very sad. I feel that sadness in my heart too, because it's a very difficult time to go through and to understand what's truly taking place and to understand the intricate patterns and the way that society was built, which to me it's like, yes, it was built in this way, but it wasn't for our best and highest objective, let's say. The world was pulled over our eyes for many, many reasons, and those reasons were hidden from us. And so now it's all coming to light and we see it for what it is.
Yeah, I was struggling with that in the last week or two, off and on, as I feel my own next steps of change. And so, sometimes all of us, I'm sure all of us have had moments at least where I'm like, oh, okay, I have to change and release and let go. And it feels a little scary. Like, I don't know what to do. And I was um, recognizing very profoundly some of the things that I had let skate by and those old belief systems, or that where he wasn't discerning in the last year or last week or whatever. And I was like, oh, and like you said, we're you and I, very much in our hearts, we were born to hope in some way, assist this. And it's somewhere in our dreams where it's like highest dreams to um, be able to, you know, welcome people and give them respite and relief and hope. And I was totally licking my wounds and um, just kind of feeling a little bit isolate, even though I know I'm not, um, in that next process. And then I got real excited, going, okay, little piece of my identity that I had known in the past. All right, I don't need that. That's not okay. And it's starting to make the sunshine even prettier, the people, the surroundings, and whatever I'm going through. And I'm so grateful for that, even though it was a little bit rough and tumble there for a few days.
Yeah, no, no, absolutely. And that's the alchemization of fear, right? I think fear is the most debilitating emotion that we could experience, because it just shuts everything down. It just removes you from that higher aspect of yourself. And I've written about this in the first book as well. And fear was the first emotion that cut off that energy with the creator. And so when the creator is trying to reach out to you, it cannot reach you, because fear is something that is in a way cocooned you in that, um, how do I say this? Like, you've created that shelter for yourself, but within the energy of fear. And so nobody, not even the creator, can penetrate that until you open that door again and say, okay, fear, I'm out of this place, I'm not afraid anymore. So you have to
Mhm.
break through that paradigm of fear and say, okay, I'm stepping into my sovereignty, into my light, into my connection with the creator. And I find strength in that. And so we all have to do that, put those fears aside. And I found that the minute I became fearless, I could stare down the Draco and and go
Yeah.
through anything, really. I'm not afraid anymore. Sure, we have our little, like somebody can come out of the dark and say boo, and I'll jump out of my skin. But those are little things that we have to live in within that 3D. But that fear that you hold in your heart is not there anymore. So yeah, it's very, very important to be able to step out of that and step into that light and step into that connection, because once you do that, you start to see all of these skewed systems that they have created for us, and you realize, oh my God, yes, my entire life has been a lie, and so now you have to step out and say, okay, what is the way forward? How can I improve my life? How can I live in truth? How can I live in sovereignty, because everything, even the wealth that you have gathered or built upon, it's built on a tarnished sense of security. It can be taken out of your bank account if the government wants to do that. It's all very, very scary. So yeah, I think we have to step forward and somehow find it in our hearts to eliminate all of these structures and not believing in them and not supporting them anymore, but doing it in a way that's connected to nature, connected to the divine, and it will build strong foundations if you do it that way, I think.
Yeah, and we'll find a way to recognize that it's very strange and unusual. And just like if all of us were, people are asking for this disclosure of the the higher dimensions and extraterrestrials and things like that. If everyone had beings parked in their front yard going, hey, then that would just be way too much or too much. Um, but they've been waving at us for a long time. We already know.
Yeah, yeah,
And to be able to go to the next steps. And I gotta tell you a story of always someone who is I think I've been spoken of that I don't love Christ, I don't love Yeshua, all that kind of stuff many times. That was just those humiliation campaigns that we got to get through. Ouch, yuck. Blech.
yeah,
um
yeah,
but the truth is I was always, yes, and
yeah,
Mother Mary as well,
yeah,
and Mary Magdalene as well.
yeah.
And so I remember years ago, this is probably 25 years ago, I was being targeted real bad. So in my life path, I chose some really hard stuff, and targeting meant like ritual abuse. So I had this energy or entity that was just messing with me. And although normally I'm really great at cleansing and clearing that, I couldn't. I had a headache. I don't usually have headaches. I
Mm,
felt this energy on me, and I just prayed. I couldn't go hang out with my friend. I remember her going, What are you talking about? Well, you said you were going to go, we were going to go do this." And I'm like, I have to deal with something. And I remember her kind of being mad at me a little bit because I was like, but I couldn't explain it. Like, I think I have a scary monster hanging off of me and I don't know what to do. Let me fix this.
mm,
So I know that sounds crazy. But I prayed, and I mean, literally, like, what can I do? Talk to Jesus. And so as a psychic medium, it's not that Jesus and Mother Mary will be like standing in the living room all day. That kind of visitation almost never happens. However, that day, feeling like I literally almost couldn't physically get up off the sofa or out of the bed or something, and I just couldn't function.
mm.
And it was yucky. And those Draco, can mess with your
Oh
mind.
yeah, that's
So
their
that,
specialty, mind control. Yeah.
uh-huh. And the targeting, that's their specialty, which is all in the same
Hmm.
something. And Mother Mary showed up, and I went, and at the time I felt so unworthy, like, okay, I'm gonna have to call somebody and say I am crazy, because and no one really has ever thought I was mentally ill or anything like that. But I was like, this is, and I could feel it. I could feel her. And she said, listen, honey, I just want you to know that that's real, that all people that have been on earth ever have gone through some times and have been tortured by these dark beings, these dark entities. And this is literally like 25 or maybe more years ago. And I can feel the holiness, preciousness, the truth.
Mm.
And I'm just crying and just feel it. And I could feel joy. And she had a punching, what do you call it? The um, boxing mitts.
Yeah. Boxing gloves. Yeah.
She put boxing glove on, and she goes, listen, I just want to tell you the truth. Those beings, the Draco, the very, very, the worst of the demons, the worst of the worst. she pulled it off of me and she goes, they're like little drowned rats.
Mm.
And she says, so look, no, boom. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I even said it then, like, I'm pretty sure that God is not sending me punching gloves. And she goes, but listen, when you see that they are not bigger than you, that you are of God, you are the spark of God. Um, and you all people make that, then you will one of these days go, huh, let me get out my boxing mitt and smack that away
Yeah.
and make the passage for this divine new earth. Because when I was a little girl, the angelic being used to teach me about ascension before we even knew those words.
Mm.
And I said, really? And I felt better and it never came back. So she taught me the best lesson ever. And even though it sounds really silly, she came when I needed her and in the way that I needed her to. And she taught me enough to keep me free most of the time
Mhm.
and knowing what to do next. And
Yeah.
I think that we're all in that position in this coming out of the matrix. Like, how do we deal with this part of the lower matrix or the old belief systems or the whatever's going on out there? And so every once in a while, I sit and hold my heart and I say, so this one's a little different. The financial system, am I supposed to get a boxing glove or um, should I learn how to
How
be
about a
friends?
bulldozer?
Yeah, like, do we need some, can I call in some help on that one? Or
Yeah.
what about the pain and the worry about housing and medical and everything for people all over the world? What else? So I always get the answer, even if it's in a funny kind of way. And but that one will be one of my most profound moments. And I think I've only told 2 or 3 people in my entire lifetime about that. So
It's out there now. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. No, I think that's really, really important because, and while you were saying the story, you were saying, "Am I crazy?" And see, that's another thing, Melissa, that's another stigma that we are taught. It's a taught belief system to think that you're crazy when you encounter certain experiences. Do you know what I mean? So when you encounter Mother Mary or Yeshua, it's not you being crazy, or when you have beings in your living room, you're not crazy. That's the stigma. That's the thing that they survive on, the medical system. And I see it here so much in Australia. It's like a crutch. People are within the medical system. They are all leaning on the medical system to survive. And the more they prescribe, the more they lean on it. And so people are living off of the system here because that they are going and saying, okay, you have this disease or you have that disease, and they are just getting people sicker and sicker rather than helping them heal. And so this medical system is going to keep you ill, is going to keep you sick, because it survives on you being sick. You know what I mean? So that is the sad the sad truth about these institutions. They just suck your energy. That's how they live. That's the loosh that they get out of your being sick, and living in that lower aspect of yourself. So you need to extricate yourself from these things, these situations, these establishments that keep you sick, that keep you in that energy of thinking that you're crazy, of thinking that you are sick. You are not sick. You are opening up yourself to these divine experiences. And so you telling them to go to hell is what they don't want. It's they cannot stand it. They don't like the light. And so the more of us that come forward and say, go to hell, this is what I believe in, this is what I'm seeing, that's how we move forward. That's how we break the system. And we heal from that. We heal from that and know that this is not the way forward. We don't need to depend on medications. We don't need to depend on the healing systems that they are pushing. It's really, really bad once you step into that medical arena and realize just how bad it is. And so yeah, it's there's so many layers to this. We can just have an entire show on just the medical system and the inversion of it. So it's really, really sad. But I just want to acknowledge people in the chat. They are getting a little impatient.
Oh, sorry,
Yes,
everybody.
yes, yes. We are going
You
to
know how
answer
we
questions.
can
Thank
talk.
you. Thank you for being here, everybody. I just want to run through the comments really quickly, Melissa. And if you feel like answering a few questions, we can. M. Verby says, "Hi, ladies. Love to both of you. So excited to be here." Melissa Protected JK Angel says hi. Melissa says, "Can you tell me if my deceased parents have any messages for me?" Melissa Protected Angel.
From where?
From her, she's asking if there is any message from her deceased parents, and are there any messages for me? She hasn't said where she's from. Let's see,
Oh, I
Melissa, are
thought
you
you
able?
said that.
Oh no, this is Melissa from the chat. Melissa Protected Angel.
Protected angel. I love that. Um,
So she's asking if there's any messages from her deceased parents.
there's three there. I'm very visual, so I'm seeing three answers, people answering you, and so I don't know who the third one is. So if you have a mother and a father passed, um, I don't know. It's hard when you're not like it's not easy to answer really quickly. But if your dad was kind of funny and quick, he's saying stuff like, "Yeah, that is correct," and he wasn't always easy. He says, and they're both safe and well, and they are seeing the freedom from their levels of the afterlife
Mhm.
without the physical 3D. And they just want you to know that your mom wants you to know that that is her. You already know it, but she's saying that was me. And there are a couple of things that Melissa has that are signs, and you can feel mom. And she says, ask again if you want me to, be by you. She's freed from whatever was extra painful for her in this lifetime and painful for the family or whatever those things, because we all have those things. And she's coming out of the matrix in spirit as she watches you come out of the matrix. And she says hello to I don't know if you have children, but I'm seeing there's a male that she's also saying hello to. Um, and they're really proud of you. And they're seeing your eyes opening up to new things. Dad says he moves shoes. He's kind of a rascal. He's a little bit funny. And he's moved stuff sometimes, not like a paranormal experience, but he says, this is funny because he says, I probably wouldn't have said it exactly this way, but God is real. And he says he moves some things like kind of like shoes, or you can hear a little bit of a shuffle. And they're saying that they know you've been going through, like you've been tired. And they see you processing some of the stuff that also sets them free. And the other person is also saying, good job. We choose you and love you. And they're also sending, you're going to feel it unmistakably how they're sending good blessings, because you're the toughest of the tough. And sometimes you don't believe it, but you're really strong, and you came here to bring in great love in your lifetime for others and connection and truth. So your parents are with you, and they'll bring both in different ways, totally different personalities, totally different people, in different ways, almost like a message or a feeling of freedom. And they're going to help you with your next steps. And they're saying, yes, do it. Like, I don't know if you have a choice that you might move or change offices or do something different or go left when you usually go right. But there's something they're saying. So being supportive of your next choices, saying, yes, you've got this, you could do this. So I hope that's helpful. And then there's another one in the background going, me too. The loved one.
I love it.
Really, really love you. What are you feeling, Raquel?
Thank you, Melissa, for your question. Yes, absolutely. I think it's very, very important to open up those channels, to people that have passed on. They give us that confirmation, if you will, of that continuation of life. And you see this all the time. So I know that you believe in this and you feel it all the time. And so it's important to connect those worlds, and imagine your life as a continuation from this physical realm into the other realm, into the light realm. And so they are just, their soul has moved on from here and is a continuation of their soul path. And so it's like, they keep in touch with us once they've moved on. It's like coming back to something familiar, to loved ones, to people that they have left behind, but they are on their own individual soul path as well. And so they come back as a reflection of that experience that they've had on the earth as well. And for us, it's important to keep in touch with them because we are, in a way, that fabric, that connection that they had with that 3D life. And so, it's like for us to remember that connection so that when we move into that light energy, we are then with familiar people and it's not scary anymore, for us to step into that future reality that we are moving into. So it's good to keep those um, bridges, those floodgates open so that we understand these concepts and understand how they are living their lives now and from that perspective as well. So yeah, it's beautiful, when we get these messages and messages of peace, messages of hope, of encouragement to know that they are with us, at all times. And when you speak about parents, that's like the closest connection that you can ever have, right? Yeah. So it's
Even on the
beautiful.
bad days. And, they're saying one more thing, and they're saying, when, and like you were saying this earlier, Raquel, when I was going, okay, I think I went crazy because Mother Mary is here.
Mm.
I can feel just the peace like I've never felt before, and unconditional love. And they are saying, remember what Raquel said, and in truth, it's the bigger picture of what is true, and the universe is telling us is when someone says you can't, you're not allowed to talk to them, feel them, love them, or you're bad or something scary, or if that's not right or whatever. And that's okay if it's not right for some people. None of us will do everything the same,
Mm-hmm.
but your loved ones will always come in, and they are coming from their higher self. So they're not cranky. They're not going to be mad at you.
Yeah.
Um, even if they had problems or pains or addictions or sufferings themselves. And they are saying that, Melissa, that you help them with freedom, and the way you do stuff is sometimes like really tough and strong. And they just wanted to remind you, like all of us, me too, um, like you're not alone, and we're not going to come stare at you while you're
Yeah.
going to the bathroom or anything
Yeah.
like that. But we are part of you, part of the bigger picture, part of unity, part of God too.
Yeah. I think
And we
that's
will let
really
you know in
important.
unmistakable ways.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you for saying that. And I think that's very, very important, because that goes back to the inversion as well, of this created belief system for you to be scared of ghosts, to be scared of the people that have passed on. That is a belief system in itself. And that was propagated by television, by movies. It's the programming, the program, right? Programming the
Organization.
mind, right? So all the horror movies and the scary movies that we see, it's all imprinting our mind to believe that it's scared to it's okay to be scared of ghosts, it's okay to be scared of the dead. And all of this is created around that fear porn, if you will, right? And so you can't believe that shit anymore. I like to call it shit because it is shit.
It
but
is.
but it's tricking our minds into believing that, and so we need to break out of all of those belief systems and clear away all of that debris, all of that nonsense that we've been taught, and connect with that true light being that these beings are that have passed on. And I like to go back to what you said as well. They come from that energy of respect, of integrity. They are not there to sit and watch you go to the toilet. No, no, no. They are coming to you as a respected light being that you are, because you are a light being. You're just having a brief encounter here on the physical plane, and you will return to that light being that you are. So they look at you from that light being perspective that you are. And so it's with great respect, it's with great integrity, not the fear porn that is propagated here. It's like it's such a different realization when you see things that way, from that perspective. You get to understand how light beings work, how they are in their current situation, and how they view us in that 3D reality. So yeah, that's what I'm getting as well, that integrity, that respect, that we
Off
have
the
to open
perspective.
those doors to look at these beings in a different way, in a different light, and not from that very narrow perspective that we have been trained to look at.
Yeah, and they're kind of winking at me, and we've got, other angelic beings here too, and for Melissa and all of us. And they're saying, even on the hard days where it was hard, family stuff is hard here in the 3D. And sometimes even who we would call enemies are our BFFs in the higher realms. And they're saying, thank you for understanding. And this might help, is that if you think of heaven, well, in most of us at least, our truth would be that the bad things, the dark beings, the scaries, and the hatred and the separation can't get into heaven. And that's the truth. So if we are saying, oh, look at that, we're working on awakening and bringing that heaven on earth together, being new earth, that's, one of those words that we use, and the higher frequencies, then imagine that. You're going to learn, guys, that it can't get to you till you'll rise up in every aspect of yourself. And in the physical reality, we are going for that respect and unity in every way. And some of those ickies or those things of the past, those dark things, can't find you
Yeah.
ever again if we bring heaven on earth. So they're saying that was fun that we got to say hello to our daughter. They love you very much.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Melissa. That was really a beautiful question and opened up conversation as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. It's very, very poignant, very important for this work that we are doing here in opening people's mind and opening those floodgates. M. Verby says, can I ask, where did the energy of fear come from? Beautiful question. So
Very
do you want to
much.
go first, Melissa, or shall I give my 2 cents?
Go ahead, Raquel. I think this is one of your wheelhouses right here.
Well,
The truth of this.
it was a revelation for me too, and for me it came through when I was writing my first book, progressing all that is progressing to the fifth dimension, and that was a journey, if you will, or a perspective of the collective of three, and it was the creation story leading up all the way to what we are experiencing now. And so they did talk about fear and how it came about in that initial emotion, if you will. And so this was, just to give you the story in a nutshell, this was Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden with the Creator, and they were living with the first creations, where the Creator had created all of the second dimensional energies, if you will, the plants and the flowers and the birds and the bees, and the snake was also one of those early creations in the garden. And so when the Creator was trying to teach Adam and Eve and expand their mind about the various emotions within the human body, let's say, it was trying to figure out a way how to demonstrate fear to Adam and Eve, because in a way they were living this perfect life within the garden where everything was given to them. They had the fruits, they had the flowers, they had their needs taken care of. But the Almighty, or all that is, or the Source Creator, or however you want to call this energy, wanted to expand their mind and demonstrate to them that there was also the energy of fear. And so it saw that the snake had experienced fear when it first encountered the snake, because um, how does this go now? Let me just think for a moment. So that was in a way the way that the creator wanted to demonstrate fear to Adam and Eve. So it said, okay, I'm going to tell the snake that it has to leave the garden and go and live elsewhere. And so it brought Adam and Eve into, into the area where the snake lived, and it communicated with the snake and said, you can no longer live here in the garden, and it like shooed the snake out of the garden. And so that snake didn't understand this emotion or why it was being shunned from the garden, and so it coiled within itself and started to attack Adam and Eve, like hissing and striking. And so that's how it sort of developed that defensive mechanism within its body, because it didn't understand why it was being shunned from this home, from this environment that it was used to and it loved. And so it created that energy of fear within its body, and it sheltered itself, if you will, within that energy of fear. And so Adam and Eve saw this for the first time, that the snake was striking them, that the snake was attacking them. Whereas, in the past, it was their friend. They were walking beside it, they were touching it, they were petting it. But now it was attacking them. It was instilling fear within their own hearts. And so they experienced fear of the snake by it attacking them. And so they clung to each other, trying to, step away from that fear that the snake was instilling in their heart. And they could feel the blood rushing to their heart and the emotion rising within themselves, that energy of fear. And you feel it, when you experience fear, it starts in your heart. The blood rushes to your heart, you feel warm. And so that was the birthing, if you will, of that energy of fear. And so from that time onwards, it's like all of these energies have resided, if you will, in this reptilian species. And so fast forward to what we are experiencing now, it was birthed into the Draco, into the dragon energy. Some of it is in the dragon energy, some of it is in the dinosaurs as well. And so they propagated that fear. But the Draco took it upon themselves to, in a way, go to the extreme of that energy and to experience that to the very extreme of their experience, by instilling fear, by instilling aggression. And so they've traveled all across the universe, instilling fear wherever they went. And so we, in a way, are built on that foundation of fear. And so our world is built on that foundation of fear. And you see it every day, it's like, do this or else, and we see it in television. We see it in how people employ you. It's like you are given certain money. If you don't do this job properly, then you don't get paid. So that's fear, right? In a way, it's fear. You're employed because you get money, and so if you don't get money, you don't get to live. So it's been propagated in many, many ways this way, and it is unfortunately in everything we do, in everything that we see in our world. So anyway, long story, but I think that's how fear was birthed, and it
No, that
is
was
now
really good.
our reality.
Yeah, because that's in my perception, at least, because we're continuing to learn, and how do we put words to it, really? And so part of my purpose and calling is to perceive sometimes in many dimensions, way higher and lower. And so over the years, it looks like how fear came in. And of course, exactly what Raquel said, and in the different dimensions and where we feel differently, and perhaps civilizations and templates, it has been instilled and hijacked, so it's piped in. And so right now, I think all of us are going through stuff, and any of us who are super cosmic and with like, oh yeah, Orion's belt used to be like Maldek or something, or oh yeah, in these different bigger picture ways that we're learning about Inkies and Enlils, and how they really did us not good,
Mm-hmm.
and it went overboard,
Yeah.
the fear, and it did come from some tricky, tacky tactics. And so I like it that we are, I think in the next, truly the next decade or two, we get to go, wait a minute, and strip out pieces of fear out of that aspect of me and you, about out of that aspect of the world and out of that aspect. And then with that, that also comes minus some judgment and minus some stuff, and that brings us together, and we will dissipate and have the correct fear. Like, let's just say I'm standing on the edge of the boat and there's a lot of sharks in the water, and I don't know to be scared because,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a 20-foot shark might chew on me if I were trying to go give her a hug.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So those little moments, and it will go back into order when we need to not touch the bonfire or
Yeah.
fall off the boat when there are many sharks in the water.
Yeah. No, that I mean, there is a point where you don't be stupid about it. You know what I mean? Like there are dangers in this world, and you have to discern that. Like there is, okay, let me put it this way: there is fear in a bad way, and there is fear in a good way. There is fear for a reason, and that is to survive. If you were not afraid of a snake, then you wouldn't survive. If it strikes you, then you wouldn't know to jump back and not get bitten by a snake. So yes, there is that survival instinct, but there is also fear that has been siphoned into your body, that has been programmed into your body for a reason, and those reasons are very nefarious. So it's up to you to look at all of these aspects of your life, whether it's the TV that you watch, the television programs that you watch, the food that you eat, all aspects of your life, the people that are in your life, are they connecting to you in that truly humble, respectful, integral way? Is the food that you're eating truly, how do I say this, like um, from a pure source and not poisoned and that sort of thing. So look at every aspect of yourself, of your life, and try to figure out where it is these energies have infiltrated and weaponized themselves within your life. And so it's like Melissa said, you have to just remove these pieces from your body, from your mind, from your livelihood, from your life, and clean up all of these areas of your life, because it's there, it's everywhere. The toothpaste that we use in the morning, there's fluoride in it, there's crap in the water that we drink, and it's like every single thing that we do is poisoned. So we have to be conscious of what it is that we are doing and break free from it, break free from all of this and become conscious creators on this plane of existence, and remove ourselves from those programs, from those realities that have been created for us.
Mhm. Yeah,
But
I
baby
think that's
steps, yeah, we have to take baby steps.
because it's in all of us. It's around all of our circumstances. And even though, like for me, well, I've lived in some eccentric places and I have chosen an unusual path. And so some of it's been in like Sedona. Um, and some of it's been in, the last place I lived was Jerome, Arizona, which was known as the wickedest town in the West back in the day. And it kind of still has a little crustiness of that. And so the energy is drastically different. And, wherever we grew up and in our family belief systems and all of their things. And that's it infested in the different parts of the universe. And we get to be the ones that go, and we get to pull out the AI that is not correct, that is not safe. We get to pull out the abusers and the yuckies and the scaries and the darkness. And but it's been in all of us. So just know if you have a moment and it confuses you or feels really like you're being blocked, just know that your very presence scrubs away layer by
Mhm.
layer, and you're doing better than you think. That was a
Yeah,
good one. That
yeah,
was a good one, Megan.
absolutely. Yeah, it's truly the presence. The light in your body can eliminate a lot of this energy, a lot of this darkness. The minute you connect with that truth, it's like an elixir. It's like that truth is the remedy, is the thing that will change your life. So
Mhm.
keep focusing on that, keep finding out the truth, and educate yourself. It is scary, to realize everything has been inverted. So yeah, we have to tear up those contracts, those initiations, all of those things that we have believed as the truth. So one step at a time, but make those choices, take those brave steps forward.
Yeah, and
Right.
we'll do it together. That's where I think one of the most powerful things, and I know this wasn't exactly the question, but the most powerful thing that you can do to remove fear and scrub it off of your windshield and and come back into your own wholeness and really remember the truth about where how that was created, fear was created, and why it's so I mean the worst widespread thing ever is respect and compassion.
Mhm.
And when we say things, the healers and the medical, and say things like, "Oh, well, we all have a cure for that disease." Well, the cure is, and certainly, the cure is the love that scrubs away the fear and the imprinted stuff. And so, yeah, we've had enough of those bazillion years of
Yeah,
fear being squished into us and wrangling us. And
yeah,
so, lots of different points of entry that we've had for the fear. But I think it's God's timing that we're all waking up, and we're like, okay, aspect by aspect, piece by piece, man, together. So lots of
mhm,
dignity and respect and love and
yeah.
compassion for each other will help some of that just dissipate without any problem.
I love it. I love it. And just a little bit of a continuation to that story that I told you about Adam and Eve, the way that they resolved it, if you will, was Eve. She connected back to the snake, because once the snake had encapsulated itself with the fear, it stayed in that state for a while, and this was like very sad for the creator and for Adam and Eve as well, because they considered the snake their friend, right? And so they wanted to bring it back to its original state. And so the way Eve did it was that she connected to her heart, and she went to the snake and spoke to the snake with love and with compassion. And just by her voice, that snake found that to be familiar, and it recognized that vibration, if you will, of Eve. And so it shook off that fear and came back to its original state of peace and calm and lovingness towards these beings once again. And so she was able to connect back to the heart of that energy, to that love, bring that love frequency forward and encapsulate that snake once again within that love frequency. And so that's what transformed the snake once again into that energy of love once again. So I think we all need to do that, bring love into those environments that are fearful and that are scary. And, you will see it shift right away, because I don't think anything can stand in the face of love. And so it's a very, very powerful emotion. And so we should bring that like a sword, like a spear, like a weapon, because fear has been used as a weapon. So why not use love as a weapon and bring it into those energies, but with grace and with compassion in our heart, and with integrity and with respect. And so I think that's a great message to end this show on today. What do you think, Melissa?
Beautiful. Yes, yes, and yes.
Awesome. Let's just check in with the chat and see if there's anything else that we need to talk about. Um, so Mbobi says, thank you very much. The food is a hard one these days. Yes, 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 I agree. I have been looking at fear and the Sasquatch the last few days, and it is always so it is always perfect topics. We have Gary for Grace 911, love and blessings to all. Gary says, please, any message from Mother Mary? Um, Dealing with the stomach flu, right jaw pain. Thank you. Do you have anything for Gary?
Yeah, and I know you will, because this is your wheelhouse, extra, extra. Yes. And the first thing I'm getting from Mother Mary is that um, man, that beautiful energy. She does wear the cosmic crown of balance and glory. And she is saying, please don't be mean to yourself because you have eaten the wrong food, or you're, in someone else's eyes, um, too much, not enough. You never make it, whatever it is. Those are still those fear forms and
Mhm.
thought forms. And we all have them, and we've all had them. And so be kind and love yourself, and you will feel it. And she's going to help you, is what I'm feeling. Scrub away the tummy stuff. And remember, when we are awakening and going through each process and alchemizing, transmuting, um, sometimes it kicks our heinies in the physical and makes us a little sick or a little. Just know that she will hold your hand and lead you through, and that you are worth it. And she's telling Gary, who's Gary, um, don't hide yourself from yourself. Just know that you have the full support of all of the divine, and you'll see a little bit of work on the jaw as well as what I'm seeing. I don't know what that means, but you'll feel it and you'll know. And just ask, and then breathe it out and let it go, and just know, whether it takes us a minute or a long time, you're going to know, and that you are being really supported by this truly divine love and beings. And they think you're funny. Mother Mary thinks you're funny, fun.
Beautiful.
Raquel, what do you think?
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, I get that too. There is such a thing called ascension symptoms, and I've looked at this before. And so, you get that energy of being sick for a while, you get that energy of being like Gary is experiencing that stomach flu, the right jaw pain. For me, it's, pain on the left knee, or I get, you get these sort of dizzy spells sometimes. It's like
Yes.
it's that correction that's taking place, that alignment, that realignment that's taking place. So just breathe through all of it. If you do get to these very severe pains in your physical body, just connect to your heart. And like we've been talking about it on this show, connect to that energy of the creator, connect to that energy of your higher self, and just bring that pillar of light into your body, and anchor it into the earth, and just breathe in that energy for a few minutes, and just focus in that energy so that it clears up all of these instabilities that you're feeling, all of these pains that you're feeling. Because, like I said, anything in the light dissolves. So just bring in more of that light, bring in more of that connected energy to the creator, and it will all dissipate whatever physical symptoms you're feeling. Just do it as a practice in the morning. Engage in that higher self energy, that connection to the creator, and it will become like your daily to do, right? And that will be your practice, your connection to the creator. So allow for that connection to take place, and it will realign your true soul blueprint, to the creator, and remove all of those distortions that you have experienced over time. So I hope that helps, Gary. And thank you. Yeah, thank you for
Beautiful.
your question. Gary says, doing 72 water fast. Thank you so much. 72-hour water fast. Aha, that explains it.
Beautiful.
So there
Yeah,
is something there that you're cleansing. So absolutely, yeah. So
that's
water
amazing.
is a great elixir. So yeah, tune into the energy of water, and I bless the water that I drink every day. So just hold the water in your hand, and just bring the rays of sunshine into the water, and ask the earth to bless the water, and ask for the energy of the creator to bless the water. And so the water that you're taking in is then pure, is then um, divine, and so it's cleansing your body as you consume it. So try that. I love it that you are working on your body. So thank you, Gary, for your question. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Is there anything in closing, Melissa, that you want to say?
I want to say thank you to everybody, and thank you for um, just all the support and love and just learning together, walking together. And I'm just so grateful. Thank you, Raquel.
Thank you, Melissa. Yeah, I think it's so beautiful when we have these live chats and these live conversations because they trigger us as well, into remembering certain things and opening up those conversations that we have. We sort of come up with these topics and then, you and I say, okay, this is going to be exciting. But as we get into the chat, it's like it becomes an expanded experience. So thank you everybody for contributing to this conversation and opening up those other potentials and bringing in your perspective of the subjects that we talk about. So really really appreciate you for being here and for supporting Melissa and myself in this way in expanding our mission as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We hope to see you next week. I don't know if we'll have a show next Thursday, maybe not. I'm sort of in a transition mode right now, so if we skip a week, then that's the reason. I'm heading back to Vancouver, so we'll probably get back here second week of June. If we don't have a show next week, that'll probably be when you will see us, but we'll see how it goes. So we'll see you when we see you, I suppose, but we will definitely be back on this show to continue with this conversation. So thank you everybody for being here. Have a lovely rest of your day, afternoon, night, whatever it is. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Melissa.